What if the very thing you've been chasing your whole life was never missing in the first place? Not success, not love, not freedom, but happiness. And what if the reason you haven't found it yet is because you've been looking everywhere, except where it actually lives? This isn't just another story. This is the moment of broken soul. A creature hated, rejected, and overlooked by the world discovered something that most people spend their entire lives never realizing. A lesson so powerful. It didn't just change his life, it could change yours too. But you'll only understand it if you stay till the very end, because the truth is hiding in the last line. Let's begin. Perched alone on the branch of a withered tree, a crow sat, trembling, his feathers ruffled, his eyes glossy with pain. No wind, no noise, just one silent tear sliding down his beak and falling. Down below, a monk sat cross-legged in meditation, felt something warm hit his cheek. When he opened his eyes, he looked up and saw the crow crying. Softly, he asked, "Why are you crying, little one?" The crow didn't hold back. "Because I hate my life," he said bitterly. "No one wants me around. People chase me off like I'm garbage. They throw stones, they shoo me away. I'm always hungry, always alone. What's the point of living like this? Death would be easier." The monk's face softened. There was no judgment, only compassion, he said. "We all suffer in different ways. But real peace comes when we learn to accept who we are." But the crow wasn't interested in wisdom. "You don't understand," he snapped. "You've never lived as something everyone hates." There was a pause. The monk breathed in, then out. "Then tell me," he said gently, "what do you wish to become?" And with that, everything changed. The crow blinked in disbelief. Was this old man serious? Could barely get a crumb of food from strangers, and now someone was offering him a new life. He leaned forward. "You can really change me." The monk nodded calmly. "If it will ease your suffering, I can transform you with a sacred mantra. You don't have to remain a crow if you truly don't want to." For the first time in forever, the crow felt something stir inside him, hope. His mind raced through every bird he'd ever seen. All the ones he envied. All the ones who had what he didn't. And finally he said, "If I can become anything, make me a swan. They're beautiful, pure. Everyone loves them." The monk smiled but didn't speak right away. Then he said, "I will, but before I do, go find a swan. Ask him if he's truly happy with his life. Come back and tell me what he says. Only then will I use the mantra." Confused but eager, the crow nodded and took off into the sky. His wings, though black and ragged, felt lighter than ever. He had a mission, he had a chance. But what he didn't know was that the answer waiting for him would shatter everything he believed about happiness. The crow soared over rivers, fields, and forests, his eyes scanning every shimmering surface until finally, in a calm, crystal-clear pond, he saw it. A swan, graceful, white as moonlight. Gliding across the water like it had never known struggle, the crow perched nearby and called out, "Excuse me?" The swan turned its long neck, surprised to see a crow so close. "You must be the happiest bird alive," the crow said eagerly. "You're so beautiful. Everyone adores you. You live in peace. I want to be like you." But the swan didn't smile. It looked away at its own reflection, rippling on the pond, and said softly, "You think I'm happy? Because I'm white?" The crow blinked, unsure how to respond. The swan continued, "There are thousands of colors in this world. I have none. Just plain white. People admire me, yes, but I've always felt incomplete, colorless, empty." The crow's wings drooped slightly. He hadn't expected that. "If I could choose, I'd be a parrot," the swan said. "They're vibrant, joyful, full of life." The crow stood silent for a moment, watching the swan disappear behind tall reeds. So even beauty wasn't enough. He shook his head and flew off again. He had a new target now, a parrot. Surely, a life filled with color must be a life filled with happiness. Right, high in the trees of a bustling town, the crow finally spotted 1. A parrot, perched on a wooden swing inside someone's courtyard. Its feathers were a stunning mix of green, red, and yellow. It looked like joy itself had been painted onto its wings. The crow landed nearby and said, "You must be the happiest bird I've ever seen. You're so colorful, so loved. I mean, who wouldn't want to be you?" The parrot tilted its head, amused. "Happiest me?" It gave a small, hollow laugh. "I do."
You know how many people keep parrots in cages? I live in constant fear. Even now, I'm not truly free. I used to fly wherever I wanted. Now I swing in the same spot every day. Watched, owned. The crow's feathers ruffled with unease. He hadn't
thought about that. "But at least you're admired," he offered weakly. "Admired and imprisoned," the parrot replied. "If you ask me, the peacock must be the happiest. He has even more colors than I do, and he dances in front of crowds. Everyone worships him." Just like that, the illusion shattered again. First the swan, now the parrot. The crow didn't know what was worse, being unwanted, or being trapped while adored. But if the peacock really had it all, beauty, fame, love, maybe he had finally found the life worth living. Maybe that peacock held the secret to happiness. So the crow took off again, flying toward the sound of distant voices and fluttering feathers. Where he landed next would change everything. The noise led the crow to a crowded zoo. Children laughed, cameras clicked, and in the center of it all, spinning slowly inside a cage, was the peacock. Even in confinement, the peacock looked majestic. His feathers shimmered like rainbows soaked in sunlight. People gathered in awe and left with smiles. The crow watched from a distance, his heart pounding with excitement. "He's everything I've ever wanted to be." When the crowd finally cleared, the crow stepped closer and spoke through the bars. "Peacock, you must be the happiest bird in the world." The peacock turned toward him slowly. His eyes weren't shining. They were tired. "Why do you say that?" the peacock asked. "Because you're stunning. People adore you. They come from miles away just to see you." The peacock paused for a moment. Then he said, "I used to think like you, that my beauty would bring me happiness. But you see these bars? They're the price I pay for being admired." The crow looked down, unsure how to respond. "I haven't flown freely in years," the peacock continued. "They take my feathers to decorate their homes. They trap me here because I look good in photos. But inside, I ache." The words hit the crow like a stone to the chest. "To be honest," the peacock said, his voice softer now, "I've been watching you crows fly outside this cage every day. And lately, I've been thinking, if I were a crow, I'd be free." Silence. The crow froze. The one bird he envied him back. And in that moment, something cracked inside his chest. Not pain, not anger, but clarity. The crow didn't fly away immediately. He just stood there outside the peacock's cage, quiet, stunned, and still. He had hated everything about himself. His black feathers, his rough voice, his ordinary wings. And yet the one bird he thought had it all would trade places with him in a heartbeat. Freedom, that was it. That was the thing he'd taken for granted, the thing others saw. But he couldn't. He turned, spread his wings, and lifted into the air. But this time, he didn't fly with jealousy. He didn't fly to escape. He flew just to feel the wind again, and for the first time in his life. It felt good to be a crow. When he reached the old tree, the monk was still there waiting, just as he'd promised. The crow landed beside him, not with desperation, but with peace. "I've found my answer," he said softly. "I don't want to be a swan anymore. I don't want to be anyone else. I'm happy being me." The monk smiled. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to, because the crow had finally understood the secret that had nothing to do with feathers or color or beauty, and everything to do with gratitude. The crow's journey may have ended, but yours might just be beginning, because the truth is, we all carry a little piece of that crow inside us. We look around, comparing, wishing, scrolling through lives that seem brighter, better, more beautiful than ours. But here's what no one tells you: that person you're jealous of, maybe silently wishing they had your life. We chase the idea of happiness like it's hiding in someone else's body, someone else's bank account, someone else's mirror. And in doing so, we overlook the things we already have. The things someone else would give anything to experience. Your freedom, your voice, your chance to try again. Even your ordinary, imperfect life is a dream to someone who no longer has the chance to live theirs. Comparison is a thief, but gratitude is the beginning of peace. So the next time you find yourself scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, just stop and ask yourself one question. What am I taking for granted today that someone else is praying for? Because the moment you stop chasing someone else's reflection, you start seeing the beauty in your own. And that might just be the real beginning of happiness.